Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Today, I wanted to get on and talk about why it's so important not to lower your vibration in order to please other people. And so, what do I mean by that? What I mean is that if you find yourself acting in inauthentic ways or ways that don't sit right with you in order to accommodate the people in your lives, then you're really doing yourself and them a disservice. So when we don't set boundaries in our relationships, when we don't look at relationships realistically, when we're acting from a place of fear, that's when we can get caught up in acting, against our own gut, against our own instincts and against our own wisdom in order to please other people. And I see this playing out in all kinds of relationships, not just romantic relationships, but of course, I see it a lot in that regard because that's the niche that I work in. So what I see a lot of times is that one partner will be doing the most and is just like pouring themselves into this other person and will sometimes do things that are uncomfortable to them, that put them in a situation where they just don't feel right, and yet they do it to appease the other person, and they think that this is love. They think that they're acting out of love because, I'm making this other person feel better. And really, you're just, you're eroding your own sense of self. And over time, what's going to happen is you'll reach a point in your life where you're just like, who am I even? Right? You lose that sense of yourself because you've given it up so many times. And so, I see this in the relationship realm of like romantic relationship realm, in that people enter into a relationship and things are going really well and it's all new and you're learning about each other, and at first there's a lot of mask wearing, right? We're putting our best foot forward. We're and it's all caught up in hormones and pheromones, and all of that stuff is at play. And so there's just this little honeymoon phase. And then when you really start to get to know each other and, the masks start falling bit by bit, that's when you truly get to know another person. And I find at this point, this is when the "but I love them" comes up, because you'll have gone through this phase of, you're building this beautiful thing, and you start having thoughts and dreams about the future life you're going to build together, and you start, putting things in place to make that happen. And then the masks start coming off, and you start getting to know the real you and them together and what that means. And sometimes it just doesn't work, right? But we've built it up so much, and they've become part of our family. We're maybe investing in things together. Like, there's so much built up, and yet the foundation wasn't really built because you were building in that phase of everything's new and fresh, and isn't it exciting? But then when it came to trying to build it once you get to know each other more and it's not working, the the logical thing would be to say, well, it's not working. It's not meant to be. We don't align. We don't connect in the right ways, and that's okay. Go find someone that you're going to connect with on that level, and I'm going to go find someone to connect with on that level. And wouldn't that be great if we could just apply some logic to it? But life doesn't work that way, because we went in with our hearts. We went in with our vulnerabilities, and we shared of ourselves, and we started the dreams and the goal building, and all of that stuff was in play. And so, you can't just separate those things with logic, because it's felt. It's feeling. So we have to deal with the feelings around that. And, what happens though, in most cases, is that these things come up in the relationship, and rather than address them in a way that, could maybe evoke change, or recognizing that this isn't a situation or a relationship that's actually going to work, we often will ignore those red flags, people call them. That's become a real catchphrase, right? But it's true. So we ignore a lot of those things. And then when we start to question them and we start to sort of bring them up in the relationship, there's often a lack of language and communication built into the relationship. And so it just can, it can just go from there. So how do we either in the relationship, when we've reached that point of like, oh, I'm not sure whether this is someone I want to stay with and continue to build with, or, I am, but how do we change the dynamics and grow and evolve into something better? Well, that's where professional help can come in. So seeking out a therapist to, gain a better understanding of what you're bringing to the relationship, and, you're hopefully going to have them willing to do the same kind of work. And then, coming together and learning new ways to build a healthy relationship. I mean, if you can do that together, then awesome. Or a therapist can help you understand your reluctance to let this relationship go. Why are you hanging on to it? Why are you overlooking things? Why are you turning yourself inside out for them? Why are you continuously losing yourself to them? So that's not to victim blame, and that's not to shame, but what is being fed in this relationship? What is being triggered in this relationship? What's coming up for you that if you gained a better understanding and had more insight around, would help you to be able to make a more wise mind choice, right? So there's logic, right? That we can say, well, this isn't working. I don't see this going forward, and I'm going to extricate myself from the relationship, or, like any number of things that logic could help us to achieve. Or, logic might say in the case of a relationship that you're really wanting to save, as it stands right now, we are struggling and we need resources. That would be logical mind thinking. And then emotional mind comes into play, and, I love them, and, it's okay that I do these things because, they love me, and, all of the things that emotional mind will, and I'm afraid to leave, I'm afraid to stay, I'm afraid of this, and I'm afraid of that. That's all emotional mind thinking, right? And somewhere in between those two is the wise mind thinking that is gained through, looking at the logic and examining our emotions and coming to a wise choice that honors us, right? That has us in the equation as being the most important factor. That's what being in a therapeutic relationship can help you to get to. And so I just wanted to get on and talk about that this morning, and hopefully, you've gleaned something from that, and I'd love to hear what your thoughts are around that. Please feel free to comment below. Feel free to private message me. Send me an email, stephsuggestion, 4, you@gmail.com. And keep in touch. Thank you. Namaste.